the mama green here. On my sofa again, in my living room. Me and Onyx, I don't know if you guys can see her tail right here. Oh, but you can see her head. Yeah, just at home chilling. It's a Sunday, and I have not chilled at home how I did today in a very, very, very long time. And there have been multiple times during this day where I sat down, but not sat down, where I sat in the moment and just thought about how it felt to be present in my home this way today, and was just filled with so much gratitude that I was able to settle and flow through the day how I was today. But also, I thought, like, wow, where has my mind been? Where has my mind been? So let me take it back a bit. I have been running on 100 since last August. And I've chatted about it in my previous videos, but it's been to the point where, like, I haven't been sleeping well. I'm in this beautiful apartment. This is a huge accomplishment for me. I am in a luxurious high-rise apartment, and I'm saying that so it can get in my brain. But yeah, I'm in this beautiful space, and I haven't spent much time in it because we started going back to the office, and also because of traveling. But for the time that I have spent in here, I've either been working or trying to sleep or doing things without being present, just rushing through things and not feeling fully settled within my place and soaking it in. And that is I've been wanting to spend time within my place so I can start to feel settled in it, and also so I can just feel the beauty of where I'm living. I mean, look at my place. I spent so much time and so much of my resources getting it to be in the beautiful place that it is in, but I'm not beholding the beauty of it. So today I flowed through my day. I woke up at 5 a.m. actually. I woke up at 5 a.m. I had plans that I wanted to do yesterday. It was a Taurus new moon. I had a bathing and a journaling ritual that I wanted to do, but I wasn't even in the space to be able to do that. I had a beautiful day yesterday. I finished my hair, I got my nails done, which I think those type of pampering things are perfect for the new moon, for starting a month, you know, new energy, feeling fresh. I went out in nature with one of my girlfriends. I sang with the wind, I hugged some trees, then we went out to sushi. And then I came back home and I was just tired. I could have forced myself to take a bath. I could have forced myself to journal, but I wouldn't really be present in it, you know? I wouldn't be present within it. So I went to sleep. I do this thing. You're shedding, mama. I do this thing where I tell myself I'm gonna take a little nap, a little napetizer. My nap's in the evening, knowing dang well like I should not take that nap and setting myself up for failure. I'll go to sleep. But I took a napetizer and I ended up falling into a deep sleep. Like I couldn't even do my night routine. And I woke up around like between 4 and 5. And then I got up. I took my time to clean my place. That's another thing that's been happening to me with this going on 100 flow that I've been in. I have been extremely messy, like not taking the time to be present within my actions and take one step at a time. So if I'm cooking, I'm not taking the time during the process to clean my dishes or put things back where I got them, or you know, closing bags, throwing things away. I'm doing things rushingly, and at the end of the day, at the end of the Sorry if you hear that noise, it's Onyx scratching. And then at the end of me cooking my meal, the end of me doing what I wanted to do, I have this huge mess. And now I'm looking at this mess and mentally I'm like exhausted. Like I don't want to clean that up. I don't want to clean that up. So I don't clean that up. I'll wait until later. And then I have a few different messes in different areas of my home from doing that process. Or I'll just unknowingly, like by default, I'll use things because I'm speeding most of the time, moving at a sense of urgency. I'll use things, say in the morning, like I'll brush my teeth, I'll wash my face, I'll throw like some concealer on, some powder on. And instead of putting those things in the places that are right in front of my face that I've designated for those things to go, I'll just leave them all on my countertop. And then now I have this mess. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. But anyways, yeah, I digress. So I woke up early this morning and I took my time to deep clean my place, and I really needed that because my home is really a reflection of my mind. If my place is messy, my mind is like, it's a hot ass mess. I can't relax. It doesn't feel like home. It feels like I'm living in, ooh, what happened? Feels like I'm living in filth, quite frankly. So I spent time to cleanse my home. Then once that was done, like I deep cleaned my tub, which I haven't done in a really long time. Well, not a really long time, a couple of weeks. I deep cleaned my tub and my bathroom, so it's looking all beautiful the way I love it to look and love it to feel. I lit some candles, lit some incense, and took a warm shower and just was like, this feels so amazing. I got out of the shower. I cooked myself a nice, balanced, intentional, healthy meal, and I cleaned up as I was going, and it felt so good to be at the end of the process and still having a clean kitchen and being able to enjoy my meal without thinking about the mess that I have to clean up after it. And I have been listening to On Purpose by Jay Shetty all morning, which I haven't been able to listen to a podcast in a while. I sort of listen to podcasts as I would music. Like I'll tune in as I'm flowing through whatever I'm doing, and I always tune in at the moments when there are things that I need to hear that resonates deeply. So I was listening to a podcast, and it was just really good to sit down on my couch like this. I made my tea, I had my water, my meal. Just sit down and listen to the podcast and eat and be present and enjoy the meal. And, taking the nuggets and the gems that I was getting from the podcast, which is really good. I'll pin the episodes that I listened to today down below in the description. They were quite helpful. I listened to one about relationships. I listened to one that discussed the different types of people that you will meet in your life, and just understanding that we are all flawed and we all have our things that aren't the best, but that does not mean that we're bad people. And lately I've been, I wouldn't say struggling, but I've just been reevaluating reevaluating my perspective of the different relationships I have in my life, whether that be from friends, particularly with people who I work with, because friends and family, but particularly with the people that I work with, because I just have this anxiety with all of my work relationships where they're not fully comfortable to me, where I feel like I need to be perfect and I need to show up in a certain way for them so they don't view me in this type of specific way, in this type of light, and always having like a very anxious approach of my work relationships, like feeling like, and I work with great people, but particularly the person I report to, and also the people who report into me, I have quite a few who report to me, just feeling like anxious about those relationships, like overthinking them, having these negative perspectives on them as far as like how I show up within that relationship, if that makes sense. Like, there's always more than I can give. There's always something else that I could tweak, and that's just not healthy for me because I'm doing the best that I can with what I've got. I'm doing a great job. But yeah, just been thinking about those relationships and why I feel that way. And this podcast helped me, along with other thoughts that I've been having throughout this week, particularly that we are just all human and we are all showing up the best way that we can. So that's all that I can do. And also I have been thinking about wouldn't necessarily say I put pressures on my team, but there are expectations. I do expect my team to perform at a high level and to perform with quality, but that's because that is my flow of how I do things, you know? So just thinking about where my team is at and where they're meeting me and where they're meeting themselves in work and making sure I'm putting that into perspective. Anyways, that's the whole thing. So listen to that podcast. And I've also just been thinking about lately, have just been thinking about, you know, I have 3 more years of being a 20-something. And I'm 27. I turned 27 in February, and we're almost mid-year. Like, the time goes by fast, and I just thought, it's time for me to reassess, to evaluate, to take inventory, take stock, and just really look at where my life is today, how it has come to be this way, and where it's heading, where I would like it to head. I have a beautiful life right now, but I just want to make sure I'm moving with intention, and I want to make sure that I am shifting things as I shift and as I grow. Because stepping into my 3rd decade, like, I want it to be big. I don't want some of the things that I've been, I don't want to have some of the same stressors, or I don't want to spend my time doing and thinking in certain ways that I do today. But yeah, that's something that we're going to dive into this video about. So pause on that. But yeah, so I listened to a podcast that helped me put that further in perspective, just as far as what it is to give value to the world, to provide to the world, to your purpose, essentially. So anyways, did that, and then afterwards I posted on social media, posted some thoughts on my story, and I sat there and I was like, I'm tired. I have these things that I want to do. I want to write, I want to journal and read some things, XYZ, but I was quite sleepy. And I was like, you know what? You sleep on this couch and you take you a good nap. So I slept for about an hour and a half. And I woke up feeling so present. Like, wow, like, I haven't felt this way in a long time. Like, I'm present within my home. I'm spending quality time with my home and with my cat and with myself. And this just feels so good. And this should be normal for me. It should be normal to me. I looked in the mirror after I slept last night in my nap today. My eyes don't look crazy. My skin don't look crazy. Usually you can tell when I'm really sleepy with my eyes. My bags look crazy because the bottom of my eyes get poofy like crazy. So anyways, that was just an update of where I'm at and how this feels good, and I'm figuring out how to sustain. So today I'm just going to talk about how I want to contribute to the world and how that's shifting. So for the longest, like, growing up, what brought me to be here in some ways, which this mindset has shifted since about like 2018, it started to shift, but I cared so much about recognition and accolades, particularly fame. Just being popular, just being well known for what I do, being invited to being a thought leader in spaces in a way that was like, that had to do with just people, and socializing and all of those things. And, now that's still something that's cool, but that's not something that I prioritize. Right now, I'm just thinking about the quality of my contributions and how that feels for me. So I'm just reimagining right now how it is that I want my life to be, and it's not how it is right now in many ways. So I've been working, social media has been my life since 2013 for my entrepreneur endeavors and also from my corporate professional world as well. And I've been quite successful in it, and it has fulfilled me in beautiful ways. And at one point I was just like totally delved into it, like it was my entire life, but it's just not my life anymore. Particularly with working with Fenty Beauty and being the social lead there, it's quite difficult to be a person in my personal life who just doesn't really care too much about social media in the way that I don't. I care about it in a lot of ways, but for instance, I really don't care what other people are doing. It's nice to see when I can see, but I'm just so inward focused. I only want to think about what I'm doing. I want to share what I'm doing, and there are specific people, very few people within the social space that I want to tap into their lives, and I want to see what they're talking about and what they're doing, and get inspiration and just absorb the beauty in their life. And those people are not people who are a part of pop culture or a part of beauty. I'm interested in those things, but the way I look at pop culture and the way I look at beauty and fashion and all of these things is, it's not broad. Like, I don't care about trends. I don't care about what everyone else is doing. And honestly, I really have never been that type of person. But now more so in particular, I don't care to tap into those things just for work or just to have the knowledge, which before I could do that. So there's that, and I've been pulling away from social in a sense where I just, again, like, I just want to flow through it. I miss the feeling of how it felt when I first got on social media, and there was no pressure. I could just stroll through the space and I could be there in a way that I personally could be there. But when you have a role like this for a company like I do, you have to be in everybody's business, essentially. And I don't care to be in people's business anymore. I've grown out of that. Like, I'm in a phase of my life that's very inward, and yeah, I don't want to spend my days scrolling. So I've realized that, you know, it's time for me to step away from having a professional career in social media. Not saying that it's something that I will be away from forever. You know, and I'm also thinking about what I do enjoy within, because essentially it's digital marketing, what I do enjoy within that realm and what I'm good at. And it's not necessarily contributing to the way of, you know, postings and captions and trends and things. It's a broader things. It's experiences. It's community. It's larger activations. So like this day to day that feels like day trading. It feels like a day trading attention. Like, you know, the day trading people in the stock market. It feels like that, but social. That's not me. I'm more of like the longer swings, broader swings. Yeah, so just thinking about that, but also I've also realized just the way I want to flow through my life. I've said this a few times. I want to decide how I wake up and how I go into my day. I don't want to have to work the strict schedule of 5 days a week, 8 to 9 hours, and only have, you know, the time before 9 and the time after like 5:30, 6:30 p.m. and then the weekends to myself. That is absurd to me. I don't want that for myself. And yeah, so that's not going to be a thing for me. And then I just think about the ways that I want to expand. I love speaking, and I'm great at speaking. I'm great at hosting and connecting with people, and I want to grow that skill. And I want to do more of that. So I'm figuring out how can I really step into that world, develop those skills, cultivate those opportunities, so that can be a part of my day. And then also, aside of that, just thinking about the things that I want to learn. It takes time and presentness to be able to learn. And the way that I'm operating, it's quite difficult to learn what I want to learn. Just because it used to be that I was learning and growing exponentially because my focus was social. My focus was digital marketing. But now public speaking, I didn't mention this, but writing, sound healing, yoga, different movements of the body and things as such. Is my camera about to die? I don't know, but I'm going to keep speaking into the past. So I want my life to lean more toward the things that I'm interested in and the skills that I'm cultivating, so it won't be a struggle to fully immerse myself in experiences so I can learn the things that I want to learn. So there's that. And there's a number of other things that I could chat about, but I'm just taking inventory and reassessing and making a game plan of, okay, how am I going to drastically shift my life? Because basically I'm talking about a whole life shift right now, like a complete redesign. And before I'm 30, I've decided that on my birthday, before my 30th birthday, like I'm gonna jump off the cliff. Like it doesn't matter where I am, because also too, what keeps me in this flow is just the money is so good, the resources are so good, and coming from a background of seeing my mom not being sufficient and not having the resources, the monetary resources and things, and then having my grandmother who does have those, and seeing the struggle for my family, not my mother, but cousins and things, seeing the struggle that and the inconvenience that people can have from not having financial resources, to seeing how much financial resources can really improve your life. It can bring happiness in a sustainable way. It's difficult for me to step away from the flow that I'm in right now, because I have reached a point where I'm making a lot of money. It's like, some way. I'm gonna try to wrap this up before my camera dies. My car just got full. But yeah, so there's all of this. I just imagine myself living a totally different life, and I'm starting today to further explore what it is that I want my life to look like when I'm in my 30s. I thought about it. I've been thinking about it for all of my 20s, to be quite honest, but it's shifted and it's changed so much. And now I am at a big change point again, where I really need to like deep dive and write down and explore and just think expansively. And aside from how like I want to live my life, I just think about, now I'm more so thinking about the people I want to be surrounded around, I just want quality, loving, open people, but I want to be around more teachers, more people I can learn from, more experts, more people who can offer perspective and skills. I want to be more of a student, and I want to have these spaces and opportunities to learn and to absorb information and to develop and gain skill. I want that to come just naturally from my environment, versus having to go so much out of my way to connect with people and connect with environments that bridge the gap between me and the things that I'm interested in and the things that I want to learn. So just thinking about that. I have amazing people in my life now, but I want a new caliber of people. And maybe that looks like having, you know, a quite older community around me. I'm not sure how that looks. I'm just calling in what it is that I want to gain from you know, the people around me, but also thinking about too the relationships I want to have with those people. This is a whole nother topic we can get into another day, but just to touch the surface, just my relationships with the people in my life currently is really reminiscent of how my relationships was with my family. Like, we were quite distant. I've never been the type to like sit on the phone. Well, there were certain points in my life, but where I've done this, but I wouldn't sit on the phone with friends or like laugh and kiki about them through text. Like, if we're in person, that can be a whole nother thing sometimes. But I just find that many of my relationships today, my closest friends were quite distant. You know, I don't really have too many friendships where, you know, people call up and check on me, or I'm doing a better job at calling up and checking on them, but I just feel a certain amount of distance between me and my friends that I no longer want in my life. You know, I'm craving more closeness, more openness, more consistency with relationships, and I'm figuring out how does that look, how does that feel for me, because I know that people, we live separate lives, and I don't want to put expectations that people can't fulfill on other people, and I don't want them to put that on me either. I don't know how this looks yet or how this manifests in real life, but I do know that I'm craving a more close relationships, and it's not bad to crave that, you know. I just want to be a person who is more present in people's lives, who can be more of a light in people's lives, and I want that in my life as well.